Hey guys, what's going on? Peter J. Cruz here. Welcome back. So I thought I'd do a quick little unboxing on the Torpedo Captor by Two Notes Audio Engineering. Um, I just got this in from Sweetwater this week. Haven't had a chance to do a video. I had knee surgery and whatnot. Um, it took me, hasn't been too bad, but it's kind of slowed me up a little bit. So, but I'm walking around I'm just wearing this brace because I've got all the bandaging underneath or all this, over the steri strips that they glued me back together with. So, and I don't want anything to start busting open. So I still keep it all wrapped. Um, so yeah, so the Torpedo Captor, for those of you that are not familiar with it, it's basically a load box, reactive load box that you can use with your tube amps, and you can plug your tube amp in as long as you've got 100 watts. Although I've seen people with 120 watt amps using it as well without any ill effect. Though your mileage may vary, so please consult your manual and your technical resources before getting uh, crazy with it. So, but all my amps, I think the heaviest wattage amp I have is 20 watts, so I won't have any issues whatsoever. So I ended up getting the 8 ohm because I got tired of waiting for the 16 ohm to become available because it's always on back order. I guess everyone wants a 16 ohm captor. But with my setup, all my amps, I mean, 8 ohm would be fine. So I decided just tired of waiting. We just get the 8 ohm. It was available, so it was in stock. So I went ahead and got it. So of course you get this nice little box, well packaged, real solid. And you got all this, the front. You got your impedance here for the Torpedo Captor 8 because it's the 8 ohm, 100 watts, 8 ohms, load box attenuator, speaker sim, DI, and you got all the various information on each facing of the package, and some info also on the back. I won't get into all the crazy stuff with it. But the really cool thing with this is you can take your tube amp, and I mean, you can't use a tube amp without plugging in a speaker load to it. Otherwise, it'll just go boom, poof, whatever. Um, so you can take your tube amp, plug it into the load box here, and it will, as far as the amp is concerned, it's plugged into a cabinet. So this will make the amp think it's actually plugged into a regular cabinet. So you can crank your balls all out to get all that nice juicy tube girth and warmth and crunchiness and everything out of the amp without going deaf in the process or getting evicted by your landlord or anything like that. Or if you're living with have family members at home, whatever that may be, dogs, cats, spouses, children, parents, whatever. You can turn your amp up to dime it at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and no one's the wiser that you're jamming. And you can sit there and record it into your DAW, and everyone lives a nice happy life. So uh, as you open it up, of course, you got this little quick start guide, which goes over some of the basic information and where all the switches and knobs do and everything else on the front. It's a big thank you on the front, and they direct you to the website to download the manual, as well as the Wall of Sound plugin, which was what you use in your studio software to create the cabinet sound effect. Because basically, you're recording the sound of the amp without a cabinet because your cabinet's not connected, no microphone or anything. So they use an impulse response for that. So, and the Wall of Sound actually has 16 impulses to begin with, and you could buy additional ones through their little boutique that they have that you can access through the plugin as well. I think I've already bought maybe a half dozen or so already before I even got this, just from in the past messing with the plugin. I found some cabinets sounded really good. I think I used them with the Redbox 5 or some other uh, uh, direct solution with other amps in the past, and so I ended up getting some other ones. So anyway, so you get the Torpedo out. It's well packaged, real solid. Move that out of the way, and of course it's in the bag here. So here's the package itself, or the unit, and then you've got two sides. This side over here has got your this little red. There we go. This way, yeah. So this red knob here is where you plug your tube amp into. So if you go your speaker out, your 8 ohm speaker out, goes into here. Yeah. And then if you want to connect the cabinet to it, you can. Let's say you're playing live and you actually want your cabinet to give you some sound, so you can actually use it as a monitor, hear what you're playing. If you don't have like in-ear monitors or anything like that, you could plug your cabinet into one of these two outputs right here. There's a through, which will give you the full volume of your amp right back into your cabinet. so it doesn't attenuate it whatsoever. And the other one is labeled ATT, which is short for attenuation, which actually decreases the volume of the amp by 20 dB. So you could hit your amp up to like full crank, and you'll have a dull roar basically coming out of your cabinet. Won't be super loud, but it'll still be loud, I'm sure, especially if you dime it. But if you are only doing recording at home and you don't even want the cabinet attached to it, you don't plug anything in here, you just plug the the amp into this little outlet right here, input jack, and then this will then absorb all the power, make your amp think it's connected to a speaker cabinet, and everything's all good. This here is a little fan that gets powered by the Torpedo Captor to blow off heat that it accumulates from absorbing all that power from your tube amp. Now on the other side, I guess there's a little ventilation. Here we go. Ventilation. I can't get left and right correct today. The ventilation here for dissipating heat. And then you got all the various connections over here for, let's see. So you have your output level on the knob here. So when you take your connection, you can either go with XLR. Here we go. Over here. XLR or one of the other outputs over here. This will give you like just a quarter inch. It's like a high Z back to your interface or whatever, or another power amp or something like that if you want to power it up even further. And then you can use this knob over here to adjust the volume going into your DAW, to the mixing board or whatever. If you have ground issues in hum, you can use the little ground lift. We're here somewhere. You use that button there. Button up top here is for phase, for if you're having any phase issues. Yep. It's a 180 degree to change the phase out. And then you got a switch here, a little switch that goes from off to guitar to bass. So it's actually got an analog speaker sim built in, so you don't even need the wall of sound plug-in. Let's say you're live and you're not going to bring your computer with you or whatever, you just want a cabinet impulse or whatever loaded to go right to the PA system, then you can sit there and set this from the guitar or bass. Here, yeah. And that will give you some like a cabinet impulse on your sound going out to the mixing board if you're like live or something like that. And then you got a power input over here. So this thing doesn't run on nothing. It doesn't use batteries. So you'll either have to plug it in like you do an effects pedal, or if you have a pedal board like that over there, you can use one of the outputs on that to plug it in, as long as it's set. I believe it's center negative is the polarity that you need on it. Or if you're using it in a studio and you got to connect it to your interface via the XLR, run phantom power to it, and you got it powered. So, and of course, there's a bazillion videos. People on YouTube already done demos with it, and they've done recordings with it and stuff. So go watch those, hear how it sounds. I mean, depending on the amp that you have and the cabinet impulse you use, your results will vary, of course. But it's probably one of the best options right now. For me, it was something like this, or even like the Universal Audio, the aux box. I mean, that's $1,300. Granted, the feature set of it is really phenomenal, but I probably would be rather doing everything in the box, so to speak, rather than through an iPad or whatever, playing around with the different settings of microphones or whatever. I'd rather just keep everything in the DAW software. So, and I guess between that and spending another $1,000 for boxing, it's kind of ugly too. I just couldn't get over the look of it. So it's kind of got that retro look, but whatever. So anyway, that's my little video on the Captor. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Hit subscribe, all that fun stuff. And that's all I got for today, guys. Rock on, and we'll talk to you soon.